Imagine, if you will, an anime that isn't what it seems. The art style is archaic, the humor is contemporary enough, but it's not the most hilarious. But something is off. There's a hole in the middle of it all, but you can't quite see what it is yet. This was my experience of Helck. No one else's, because a certain editor would rather watch other things that are far less cool, like One Piece. But I picked up that this wasn't just a gag comedy pretty quickly. There was just a vibe, a thing. It took a few episodes for me to validate that, and many more days of begging to watch more together to find out that this was an absolute bait and switch, in the best way. And the best way to tell you about that bait and switch is heavily spoilery. So this video will have spoilers for the first 15 episodes of Helck. If you watch the trailer, or look at how other people talk about Helck, it's a funny parody of a tournament arc about a human warrior who looks like He-Man and has betrayed all of humanity to fight for the demons. Except, wait a few more episodes, and it's actually a subversion of that subversion. And what it's subverting is a further subversion that leads to many, many other subversions. Because Helck is a serious action anime addressing the seriousness of war and its repercussions on normal people, and the lengths they'll go in times of horror. And it's also a gag comedy. The best part about Helck is that it is incredibly masterful at balancing the serious and non-serious elements into a coherent and engaging narrative. If you can get through those first few episodes, that initial gag comedy, you will be rewarded with a well-crafted subversion of an adventure anime. But I think it's better for it. I think you should have to earn Helck. I think it deserves people who will love it and care for it for what it is, and what it's doing as a whole, especially as the second core is starting to wind up to something I'm sure will be special. So, let's start with our main boy, the head honcho, the hero who betrayed humanity, the hero killer.
Wait, what was that last one?
Don't worry about it, we don't know yet either. With his blue hair, slutty little waist, and cute headband, I knew I had to protect this man at all costs. He's a himbo with a heart of gold and a mysterious dark past. Like, was I not supposed to be immediately drawn in? Except something is a little... don't worry about it. He's strong and powerful and has a goal in mind that he wants to execute on. A solid, reliable man to have in a pinch. Unless you're one of the 4 kings of the Demon Empire. Specifically, Familio, a red-haired, hot-blooded demon fit to explode at any moment. Quite literally. As the overseer of this tournament, she is absolutely appalled at Helck even showing his face. Clearly he's a one-man army ready to kill them all. Something needs to be done about this monster. So she manipulates the tournament over and over and over to try to make him slip up. But his dexterity is on point, his strength is unbeatable, and his stamina is godly. No one can stop this man from reaching the final round of this tournament. And maybe the people standing up there besides him aren't the best choice either. We have Hura, an immortal woman who can heal in an instant and is a fine hand with a sword. She's strong-willed and wants to be the next Demon Lord. And she's really trying her best despite the rest of the weirdos she's ended up with. Kemrose is built for speed and, nothing else. He barely has a weapon and his best attribute is his ability to run for it in the other direction. In these first few episodes we get a sense that maybe if it wasn't for Vermilio's meddling, he wouldn't be here at all. This goes double for Darushi, who seems to be a man of one skill, and that skill is a barrier spell that takes 30 minutes to cast. Not great when our 4 Demon Lord candidates are thrown into a rather practical final challenge. Retake the Demon Lord castle back from the human scum who destroyed them. Specifically, the one they're all fighting for. Because this isn't a tournament to be the Demon Lord, this is a tournament to be a Demon Lord. It's here in the 3rd episode that I really began to sense that this anime was not what it seemed. Our 4 potential heroes, Demon Lord candidates, are accompanied by Anchan, a manager of the kingdom who we haven't met before and is absolutely not familiar with a haircut. She's just here to tag along and make sure a certain human someone isn't here to secretly destroy the kingdom from within and may actually be willing to do harm to other humans like he claims he wants to. Once they fight their way to the Demon Lord 4's castle, he gets his chance. A human with white hair, white robes, and white wings awaits and pushes 3 of our final 4 to their limit, except Helck, who hangs back and watches before stepping in on the human side, just in time to prevent a potentially fatal blow against this winged human. But why? The show only subverts more and more from here. In fact, our 5 main characters quickly become 2 main characters as Anchan and Helck end up sucked into a portal and thrown halfway across the world, to an island paradise that, as far as our Demon Kingdom knows, doesn't exist. This is a world of 1 continent, so where did this island come from? It was here the anime shows its true hand. This isn't a parody, it's a pastiche. This is an adventure gag comedy that knows what it wants, and what it wants is your attention. We begin to see quite how unnerving Helck is, building a log cabin in hours, and imposing his superior skills on the sleepy little village without meaning to. Still endearing, but very much a man with his own past beyond being a one-dimensional 80s action hero. Alone and far from anyone who can help them, Anchan is beginning to question Helck as much as we the audience should be. Yes, this man does seem to hate humanity, but he also seems genuinely good-hearted. So what happened with humanity to make this human hero be so willing to throw his whole world aside for the enemy? This is also where you start to get a feel for the emotional complexity these characters were conveniently missing from the first few episodes. Vermilion starts with her gag of literally exploding with rage, and Helck starts to actually have a personality at all, with a broad range of skills that seem very much less hero-y than you'd expect. A mysterious kingdom, strange witch, and all sorts of questions begin to arise on the island, and our duo knows they need to get back quick before things turn dire. The anime balances the down-to-earth island adventure with the life and death battle very well here, with superb pacing and 2 very important characters for making this whole thing work, Ista and Asta. These 2 catgirls happen to be the absolute forefront in espionage technology for fake medieval fantasy kingdoms. As siblings, they share a magical power that manifests as a gentle telepathy that's only available if they're both drinking coffee at the same time, like some kind of caffeine-powered landline. While Ista is back in the Demon Kingdom, Asta is off infiltrating the human world, and slowly over the next few episodes while everyone else is busy, we get to see her very odd findings. First of all, the human world is empty. There's no one here in all these outer towns. A common fantasy trope is that humans breed like rabbits compared to their more immortal counterparts. So where is everyone? Over the episode, she eventually reaches the capital city and finds people. Winged people. And here we get our next revelation. The winged human Helck protected is an awakened hero with advanced powers that humans shouldn't have. The balance of the world is off, and it's only more tipped when we see the slain humans reviving in their capital. The world has been evened out. Both sides now fight a war of immortality, and with each death, the humans are only growing stronger. But that's not relevant. Helck and Anchan have to get back to the Demon Kingdom. Their companions might be dying, and so they venture on an incredibly long and dangerous trip across the uncharted oceans, back to the main continent. I think this section works really well, by slowly drip-feeding us more of the true story of this world, in between gag comedy and heart-aching adventure plots. I was put in mind of Kino's journey in the best way. These episodes follow along a strange land with a specific conflict or issue that our main characters have to solve to continue on. A tyrant, a cooking competition, and a dark night flow expertly episode to episode without feeling like the genre shift is unnecessary or breaking something it shouldn't. It's hard to put into words exactly why this is, other than it's just made really well. This is a show that knows when to use its genres, when to make a joke, or when to let a scene be serious. Currently we're starting to get answers, but it's slow, and you will earn them with patience. The second course starts with a flashback, with Helck finally telling us the sordid story that led to his hatred of humanity. And 3 episodes in, we still haven't gotten all of that story, but we've been given so many answers and so many more questions that keep you on the edge of your seat, and I wouldn't have it any other way. As much as I enjoyed those first episodes, the second half is really making me think about the value of everything that came before. 3 solid episodes of flashback, with only the odd flit to the present, has really made me appreciate how much work those initial 12 episodes were doing, tempering our expectations just to break them over and over until I'm absolutely enthralled to get any drop of new information on this strange world, and our mysterious titular character. I think that if I hadn't gone through that emotional rollercoaster of subversion upon subversion, I wouldn't be willing to sit through the heavy aspects. And I wouldn't want to. Helck is the sort of show you have to earn. Like a shy cat, you have to hold your hand out and let it approach you on its terms. And if you aren't willing to do that, one of you is going to end up leaving scratched up and disappointed. This anime is a lesson in giving a show a chance. because as far as it was presented, this was a gag comedy. But look at the official sources, and comedy isn't even mentioned. It's an action fantasy. As much as I love the 1 and 3 episode rule, Helck is firmly a 5 episode rule. Get through those episodes, experience the fake tournament arc, and you'll get a good fantasy anime that would have been worse if we'd started from a conventional standpoint. By showing us the gag comedy up front, we share the other characters' distrust and are intrigued for if Helck is who he says he is, and we get to follow this journey as equal participants. If it started out as a lone hero on an epic quest, it would feel a little more generic, and lose that chance to show off its comedy elements that really help soften the overall experience. Because despite its labeling, it is still a comedy anime. It's just doing what good comedy can do. Kick us in the heart when we least expect it. It puts me in mind of So I'm a Spider, So What? An anime that I have mixed feelings on. As the one of us who doesn't read every single isekai manga under the sun, I was excited by its non-human protagonist, only for both of us to be incredibly disappointed in the ham-fisted human subplot that gets introduced early on. When it briefly showed its cards and we got a glimpse of an interesting plot, it made me want to keep going, only to face poorly paced, unbalanced bullshit and awful plot threads about characters I barely knew or cared about. Spider's whole class roster gave a lot of potential characters, but none of them ever really got time to shine, unlike Helck's more lean and well-rounded adventurers party. Actually, I have forgotten one core character for Helck. Pee-wee, a strange bird creature who mostly exists for comedic value, except when they don't, because the show knows what it is and what it's doing. Unlike So I'm a Spider, So What, which knows nothing and is the bane of several months of wasted anime watching, desperate for it to finally deliver on all these cool ideas, and then it doesn't. You get nothing. Get fucked. Helck is currently airing, and as such, it could still let me down in the future. But even if it does, I will be happy with the journey it has taken me on so far, with its lean and sophisticated story that doesn't fuck you around and tease you like a cheap 8-legged whore. I have a soft spot for a show that'll mess with me in new and interesting directions. And while I was initially pulled into it by its parody of your typical Demon King Battle Royale anime, I loved how much it's met my expectations, and then kicked them into the dirt, spat on me, and dragged me in an entirely separate direction. Helck knows what it is, and for that, you have to strap in and enjoy the ride. No jumping to the hypest fights or funniest moments. The experience should flow over you and engulf you in its fascinating world, unlike any I've really seen in fantasy anime for a while.
Before we get to the conclusion, let me introduce you to Jacob! Wow!
Wow!
Our first Patreon follower. He's so cool! I bet he has a cool face too. And if you want to be cool like Jacob and acquire yourself a nice piece of kiwi, then head over to our Patreon and enjoy your early access to videos, the assets we use in said videos, and your name in our videos, as well as our undying love and gratitude for helping us get one step closer to making this whole thing work. Now, on to the conclusion.
In conclusion, the best time to watch Helck was before you watch this video. The second best time is right now that you've finished this video. As well received as it's been, I see why it's hard to talk about. If you stick to the 3 episode rule, you won't understand Helck past the He-Man mask. The show really has so much more going on in its favour. We detailed so much, but left out even more, because to rob you of some of those reveals is to rob you of the fun of it. It's sort of like Oshinoko or Old Boy, where that twist is a closely guarded secret. Except from what I've seen, no one really cares about Helck enough to hide it. But I do. Watch Helck.
And if you do watch Helck, let us know in the comments. We love recommending anime, as our minds are full of the weeb curse. If you liked the video, feel free to hit like and subscribe. For all the people who got this far, I have a question for you. What was your first anime? The one you'd actually know is an anime, so not like Pokemon. But that's all for now.
Bye-bye!